This is Molly. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Purpose, where we talk about just that. What is our reason for being on this planet? Why are we here? Gotta be a reason we were born, right? It's not just random. Well, if you've been watching these videos, you know exactly what I'm gonna say. 2 reasons we are on this earth: to love God with all of our heart and all of our mind and all of our soul. And so everything we do throughout our day is done for Him. When we're brushing our teeth, we're praying to God. When we're driving to work, we're praying for other people. When we're about to eat a meal, we're thanking God for everything that happened to us in the day, even the bad things. You know, everybody's really happy to hang out with Jesus in the good times when He's feasting and He's having fun with the apostles. That's fun. But not many people want to hang out with Jesus and He's suffering. Weren't a lot of apostles at the foot of the cross, only one. Everybody else skedaddled. It's tough to be with Jesus in the suffering, but when bad things happen to us, we get to stand there at the foot of the cross with Jesus and be there with Him. He's with us in our suffering. We're with Him in His. And so I think there's a lot of, healing that can happen through our suffering. And God can bring about miracles from anything. He can bring good out of the worst situation. You can think of the worst possible thing that could ever happen to somebody, and God can bring something good out of that. So that's kind of cool. And number 2, we have to love each other. We've got to pray for each other. You don't have to like everybody, but we do need to wish people well, to pray for them and pray that God will touch their heart and bring them peace and wisdom and love and all of that kind of stuff. And if you can't, if you just have been hurt so badly that you can't bring yourself to pray for somebody else, then that's okay. You just go to God and tell Him that and ask Him to touch your heart. Ask Him to break up some of that sadness in you, and He'll do it, because we don't want to be full of anger and hatred and bitterness and resentment. It just leads us further from God, and it makes us more miserable. It's not hurting the person that hurt you. It's just hurting you. So I think that's our reasons to be on this planet: to love God and to love each other and to do whatever we can to help each other get closer and closer to God. And we're going to mess it up. It's just fact. We're going to mess up. And that's why God gave us the Bible, so that we can learn from the people in it, and we can learn how to love Him more. And we left off on Genesis chapter 20 with Abraham and Sarah. Abraham has been talking to God. God's been teaching him how to love Him and how to love other people and how to pray for other people. And Abraham still messes up. It's 2 steps forward and 1 step back for all of us. And that's okay. The point is not to never mess up. The point is that when we do mess up, we recognize it, we stand up, we brush ourselves off, we apologize to God and whoever else needs apologizing to, and we ask God to show us the way. That's all we have to do. We have to know that God is the one in charge and trust Him. Trust Him that He's going to take care of us, which is hard to do. So anyway, when we left off with Abraham and Sarah, they're wandering around. They're nomadic people, and they're wandering around. And they went to this place called Gerar. And the king of Gerar was called Abimelech. Now remember way back when we first started talking about Abraham and Sarah, they went into Egypt. And Abraham was so scared because Sarah is beautiful. And she must still be beautiful, even in her older years. And she was so beautiful, Abraham was just scared to death that the men of Egypt were going to want to take her, and they were going to kill him to get to her. So he told her to lie and tell everybody that she was his sister. Well, he's doing it again. He's making the same mistake again. He's asking Sarah to lie and tell everybody that she's his sister. And we do this too, we keep making the same mistakes over and over and over. We all have our few sins that we just keep doing all the time and we can't seem to break it. Well, this is one for Abraham. And sure enough, Abimelech heard there's a beautiful lady in the area, and he had his people go and take her and bring him back to his palace or whatever he was living in. And that night, God came to him in a dream. And God said, Abimelech, you're messing up. Sarah is Abraham's wife, and you're going to die because you've taken her. And Abimelech was like, what? I didn't know she was his wife. And God said, I know. I know you didn't know. I know he told you that that was his sister, but she's his wife. And you and your whole household, you're all going to die. And so Abimelech was like, I'll give her back. I'll give her back. And God said, Abraham is a prophet, and he's going to pray for you. So Abraham's still praying for people. He had to be mad at Abimelech. He took his wife, even if he thought she was his sister. Oh, excuse me. Even if he thought that she was his sister, he still took her against his will. If he'd asked her, do you want to come with me? She would have said, no, I want to stay here with Abraham. But he didn't ask her, he took her. So Abraham has to be angry at Abimelech and scared and everything else, but he's still praying for him. Yay. So anyway, Abimelech had his people go get Abraham, bring him to him. He gave him back Sarah, and he gave him a bunch of sheep and cattle and goats and silver and all kinds of stuff to make up for taking her. And then he was like, what the heck, Abraham? Why'd you let me think she was your sister? And Abraham said, you all don't believe in God here. You don't live your lives according to God. And I was afraid if you don't have anybody to answer to, that you're just going to be living for yourselves and to make yourselves happy, and that you'd kill me. And so he took Sarah and all of the stuff that Abimelech gave him, and they left. So what lesson can we learn from Sarah and Abraham and Abimelech? Well, number one, don't lie. Tell the truth. And this was a little lie. You know, Abraham was thinking it's not going to hurt anybody and it's going to save me. And it was really kind of a stretching the truth sort of thing. Wasn't really lying. Sarah was his sister. They have the same dad. They had different moms. And back then, it was probably okay to marry your half-sister. Problem is, it was a lie. He knew that even if she was his half-sister, he was living with her as a wife. And he doesn't know who this is going to hurt, you know. And with God, doesn't matter if it's a little bitty lie or if it's a great big fat whopper. It's all the same to him, because when we lie, it means we don't trust God. And we do this all the time. I tell little white lies way more than I should because I hate confrontation. And if telling a little white lie will get me out of a confrontation, then I usually do it. And it's because I don't trust God. They might get mad at me. If I tell somebody the truth, they might get mad at me. I might get in trouble for not doing something or whatever. People might get angry. There could be a confrontation, but maybe either that person or myself could get closer to God through that situation, through that confrontation. Maybe if I trust God and I say, oh Lord, I'm scared right now. They're going to be mad at me. Help me, lead me, guide me, give me the words that I need. Maybe I'd get closer to God. Instead, take a step back if I tell a lie. So even little lies that we think aren't hurting anybody take us further from God because we don't trust him. If we trusted him, we wouldn't have told the lie. And the other thing we can learn from this is Abimelech had to know that what he was doing was wrong. Even if it was legal in his country to take her, he had to know it was still wrong. Somewhere deep down in his gut or in the back of his head, he had to know this is wrong. And that happens to me. I'm about to do something and I have that little voice in my head saying, oh, Molly, don't gossip. Don't talk bad about these people. and I still do it. Sometimes I catch myself and I'll stop and say, oh, dear Lord, I really want to gossip about this person. Give me your strength. Give me your wisdom. Help me to not do it. Teach me to love you and love others. And then maybe I won't do it. Maybe I still will, but at least I'm trying to get closer to God. So Abimelech had to know what he was doing was wrong, even if it was legal. There's things in this country that are legal to do, and they're still wrong. So Abimelech had to know that, and he did it anyway. But he told people he was sorry. He gave Abraham all that stuff. He tried to atone for it. And I think anytime we take a step backwards, we can always go forwards again. If we acknowledge what we did, we admit it to ourselves and to God and to other people. We apologize to anybody we hurt and to God. And we trust God and ask him to help us. You know, sometimes I think we're like a bunch of 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds on this planet. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to get through life the best we can with as little pain and suffering as we can. And I think what we need to start doing is thinking less about ourselves and more about the people in our lives, our friends, our families, our co-workers, people in the world. Start praying for them, thinking more of them, thinking about what does God want me to do and less about what I want to do. And we need to think that God's our Father and we're little kids. We got to trust in him. And we need to know we don't know the answer to everything. We can't just do whatever we want. We have to ask God, is this the right thing? And sometimes I've got to go to him 5, 6, 7, 8 times with the same question. Lead me, guide me, help me to know what's right. Is this the right thing to do? Before I kind of have a feeling of what it is I should do. So we need to trust God and trust that he's our Father and he's going to take care of us even if we have a confrontation, even if we get hurt. Trust him. And when things don't go our way, we get to hang out with Jesus at the foot of the cross, which is not a horrible place to be because we can comfort him and he can comfort us. Well, I hope you enjoyed this story with Sarah and Abraham. Next time, we're going to find out how things are going in the baby-making world with Abraham and Sarah. Well, I hope you all have just the best day today, everyone. Bye-bye.